up, y'all? It's Izzy and welcome back to another video in the series So You Think You Want to Build a Skoolie. And today we're going to be talking all about buying tips and tricks because I know some of you guys really want to know about that. I really want to know about that when I was doing it and I just thought I'd wing it. I did wing it, but now I've got some helpful tips and tricks for you guys. So let's get into the video. So the most common question I feel like people are asking themselves is, where on earth do you buy a school bus at? Like, how did you get a school bus? Where do you find it at? Well, there's two really simple things that I can think of: auction sites and dealers, and sometimes, you know, people who buy from those places and then turn around and sell their bus on like Facebook Marketplace or maybe Craigslist or something. But the two main places you're going to be looking at is government auction sites like GovDeals, Public Surplus, and GSA. I personally bought my bus off of GovDeals. I feel like that was like the most familiar, like the most easiest thing for me to work with. So I know a lot of people talk about buying them from dealers, and that's perfectly okay too. You can buy from a dealer, but what I found most often is if you buy them from a dealer, they're going to be a lot more expensive. And the odds are those dealers, they got them from auctions to begin with anyways, so they're paying a lower, cheaper price and then turn around and selling it to you to make money. So why not just try to compete with them on auction sites versus going to them? But I understand if you feel just more comfortable going to a dealership. I don't know who in their right mind feels comfortable going to dealerships, but if you do, do you. Now that we talked about where you can buy them, I want to talk about some of my biggest tips. So first and foremost, don't rush into anything. So like, don't feel obligated if you see one on Craigslist, if you see one on Marketplace, you go to a dealership, or even if you're on an auction site, that you have to buy the first bus that you come to, because there are tons of buses out there. There are all kinds of different types of buses, and it really, you need to do some research on your own to figure out what you want, and start imagining how you want your life to go to what you will need. Another tip is don't be afraid to ask questions, whether that be at the dealership or with a seller, or if you're on the auction, especially like on the public auction sites. I think there's a place where you can ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions. And even a bit farther, like, don't be afraid to call or even go and inspect the lot if you're buying from an auction. Like, don't be afraid to go and actually inspect it. In my case, it was too far away, but of course, you know, you could call. I didn't call. I probably should have called, because you can get tons of information if you call. My Papaw does it all the time. Actually, right now, tomorrow night, some buses are going off of auction that he's planning on building on to get a short bus to pull his actual camper with. And he called them today and talked to them about it, and they gave him a bunch of information that wasn't listed on the website. He actually found out that several of those buses had had transmissions replaced, and one of them had actually even had the engine replaced like 60,000 miles before it was put up for auction. So it really does not hurt at all to call. I mean, they can tell you a lot of things. They can hardly tell you anything at all. But it really doesn't hurt. It's really easy on an auction site if you're not paying attention. There are buyer premiums. And if you see something, it's sometimes hard and tempting to say, well, I'll go over budget. Another will come along. If the bus that you are looking at now that you feel is the one goes over your price range, I mean like double your price range, don't feel the need to splurge on it. And another thing is know what you want. So I talked a little bit earlier about researching, and that is a very key thing. So like, you need to know what kind of bus you want. I almost forgot one last thing that I just learned on the phone. It wasn't on my script, that's why I forgot. I put a little note in the corner. My Papaw just told me, like, if there is a long list of buses going up for auction, so in his case, there are about 8 short buses going up for auction. And he said that in the chaos of people trying to bid on them, a lot of times people will let the first one go and wait till the later ones come along. And so if you can and you want to grab one of those buses, it's probably best to bid on the first bus, because people will give up a lot easier on the first one, and then they'll all fight it out later over the rest of them. I think that's all the tips and tricks I have. If you have any tips and tricks that you would like to share, if you perhaps own a skoolie, or if you know a lot about buses, and just information that would be helpful to people, be sure to leave that down below so people can, you know, kind of like take that in consideration when they're looking for a bus, because I want to build kind of like a community here where we can like talk back and forth about things. As I've said before, my opinion is not the end all opinion on things, and I really just making these videos for people who are starting at ground zero or maybe perhaps need to know a little bit more. And so I hope this video was helpful in some capacity and not just like this big long rambling mess. I'm trying to do better. I'm making scripts to look off of while I'm filming. But with all that said, stay tuned for the next video I upload on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 o'clock, at least until November, hopefully. And I will see you all next time. Bye.